Tonight's bedtime story is The Slumberjack by Jane Thomas. In the centre of a tree-lined clearing in the village of Lower Starry Skies stands Willow Stump's home, a log cabin made by her grandfather's great-grandfather, the first of the famous Lower Starry Skies lumberjacks. The Stumps have lived here for hundreds of years and have passed their lumberjack skills from father to son, or, in this case, from father to daughter. Not only do they take down trees when needed, but they transform wood into all manner of beautiful things, their speciality being cabins just like this one. There's a porch that wraps its way all around the house, decorated with rocking chairs and endless strings of fairy lights. And there's a chimney at either end of the cabin, each of which has a little puff of white smoke coming out of it. Everything inside has been made by one stump or another, from the beds to the bookcases to the plates they use for dinner, and the bathtub that sits beneath the skylight so you can lean back and look up at the stars, surrounded by mounds of rainbow bubbles. So this is the life Willow Stump was born into, one where the outside is quite literally brought inside, and where she understands the rhythms and ways of nature and trees, the birds and the bushes, the deer that stand and watch her, and the squirrels that dance through swaying branches. And you might expect that this girl in the jeans and the checked shirt would grow up to do exactly as her father has done. But she has a secret that nobody knows, not even those in her family. Ever since she was born, Willow knew there was something different about her. It was only one day when she was old enough to read that she happened to take down the biggest, dustiest, heaviest book in the little library in their cabin. One that of course had a ladder that swung around on rails so you could reach even the books on the highest shelves with ease. And inside that book, she found tales of pixies and fairies, of leprechauns and will-o'-the-wisps. And somewhere in there was a page with a corner folded down, and pictured on that page was something called a slumberjack. As Willow read the description and looked at the image, she knew she was finding out all about herself. A slumberjack, she read, was a special, unusual kind of lumberjack. You see, cutting down trees too much and using all the wood for humans, if unchecked, could take habitats away from the animals who need them. So, we need slumberjacks to maintain the balance. That's why slumberjacks often disappear to remote wild places and make sure the forests are thriving. They help the animals create the coziest homes high up in the trees, going to almost impossible lengths to make sure that every bushbaby and koala and squirrel and sloth could fall asleep in the coziest of nests and dens and hidey holes. Willow looked at the picture and smiled, seeing herself on the page. It was a boy in the picture, but he had the same face as Willow and the same eyes, one blue and one green. His hair was the same rusty red as hers, and she recognized something about the way he stood, his hands deep in his pockets, his shoulders relaxed, his happy smile. That was very much her. In that moment, she found herself and understood her calling in life. Now, it's all very well finding out that you're supposed to be a slumberjack and your purpose is to disappear to remote places, but remote places are, well, remote. Animals tend to live away from humans in our hustle and bustle. It was when Willow was 10 years old that she realized that Aunt Tilly, the mysterious, wise lady of the village, who everyone called their auntie, whether they were actually related or not, certainly had a lot of secrets hidden behind her smile, and might be able to help her fulfill her slumberjack destiny. It was a difficult topic to bring up one afternoon over tea. They were sitting in Aunt Tilly's garden on a picnic rug, Willow stringing daisies together to make a chain, when she suddenly put down the flowers, took a deep breath, and bravely announced, "I think I'm not supposed to be a regular lumberjack like my family, making things for humans. I think I'm supposed to be a slumberjack." She blurted it out all of a sudden, and then turned bright red and went back to her daisies. "But of course you are, dear," said Aunt Tilly, quite unfazed by the announcement. "I knew that the moment you were born." Willow dropped the daisies, taken quite by surprise for a moment, and then realizing in the next that, of course, Aunt Tilly of all people would know such a thing. "I need a place to do my work," she said, leaving the hint hanging in the air, hoping Aunt Tilly would help her out. Aunt Tilly set down her teacup on its saucer and looked casually off into the distance. "Rumour has it," she said after a pause, "that if one were to go through the little gate at the end of the lane, and if one were to believe very much in what one might find, that one could discover a place called Sleepy Forest." She picked up the teacup and took a sip. Then she smiled across at Willow. "And I think Sleepy Forest is just the place for a slumberjack to do their work. I'll leave that with you, dear." And then Aunt Tilly changed the subject and started talking about the time she saw a tiger in India and always wished she had invited it to tea. In her next story, Tilly was riding on the back of a whale as it slipped through the waters to Sri Lanka, and Willow became so distracted by talk of the tea plantations that for a few days she quite forgot everything Aunt Tilly had said about Sleepy Forest. But, of course, she had remembered, one night at 2 a.m. when she'd suddenly woken with a start and gasped. Willow had looked out of the window and seen a white owl swooping by, heading over the forest that Aunt Tilly had described. And, from then on, every week Willow would find a way to slip through the little gate at the end of the lane and find her way into the heart of Sleepy Forest. And tonight, she will disappear through that same little gate, and she will meet with a bushbaby called Daisy, who is going to be getting a new little sister very, very soon, to build a new bedroom for their nest high in the trees. But first, she has to gather supplies. Willow Stump walks down the hill from Upper Starry Skies to Lower Starry Skies. She has her hands in her jeans pockets as she walks, and the sleeves of her red and black checked shirt are rolled up. It's a warm evening, and she's whistling softly as she goes, pausing to say hello to anyone she passes. She passes by neither up nor down, and then comes to Where There's a Wool, There's a Way. Mrs. Wollingworth is waiting for Willow, and her fluff ball of a cat is also there on the counter, his tail waving slowly to and fro as he sits and watches the world go by outside the window. Mrs. Wollingworth smiles at Willow and hands over a basket of scraps of material she's gathered together over the last week, the leftover pieces from the curtains and clothes, tea towels and tablecloths she's made for people. Willow takes a quick peek inside and smiles to see the bundle of polka dots and flowered fabrics, stripes and checks, some velvet, some silk, some soft brushed cotton, and lengths of pale blue wool curled neatly around. Willow passes by Rise and Chime, waving to Mr. Timelove, who appears to be having a meeting with a gathering of cuckoos and mice, and then wanders past the church and the school, turning at the crossroads just in time to see Uma closing the doors of the Dimpled Dumpling. Past Mr. Featherman's garden she goes, where all the gnomes are poised in position, fishing rods reaching out over ponds, wheelbarrows filled with feathers, waiting for darkness to descend so they can head out into the world and gather up good luck charms. Outside Aunt Tilly's house, Mellow Yellow the van seems to sparkle a smile across to Willow. And then, just past the cottage, where the roses seem to bloom the whole year round, Willow takes a small path that hardly anyone ever notices. It winds its way between high hedgerows, the scent of honeysuckle filling the air, and she walks along, still whistling softly, swinging the basket of scraps from Mrs. Willingworth, until she comes to a clearing. Willow believes that nobody in her family knows she is a slumberjack. She believes she's kept this very much hidden, and that she can sneak out under cover of darkness with none of them noticing. But of course they know. They all know. They knew it from the moment she opened her eyes and they saw one was green and the other blue, and her hair was the colour of the setting sun. But it is better for everyone to work out who they are in life, rather than their family tell them. And so they had kept quiet and waited for Willow to figure it out for herself. They knew the day the biggest, dustiest, heaviest book in the library had been moved, for the little mouse who lived there had come to tell them. And they knew Willow had found the page with the Slumberjack's picture, because one of her long flame-red hairs was resting in the pages of the book. But they never said a word. So later that night, as Willow slips out of the house with her basket, believing that everyone thinks she's fast asleep in her bed, she holds her breath as she tiptoes past her grandfather in the rocking chair on the porch, who is busy pretending to be very, very asleep. She stops for a moment when she steps on a twig that snaps, the sound suddenly seeming so loud in the absolute quiet of the night. But no lights turn on, and the rocking chair doesn't move, and she believes that once more she's leaving for her mission with nobody knowing. Willow goes down the path that winds its way between the high hedgerows and emerges onto the little lane. She sees lights twinkling in Aunt Tilly's house and imagines the tiny old lady sitting with a book late into the night, not knowing that she too keeps an eye out for the little slumberjack on the night she heads into Sleepy Forest. The gate creaks a little, and Willow frowns, reminding herself to bring a can of oil next time. And then it is closed, and Willow is heading down the path that rises to the left and dances to the right, and heads across a little bridge over a stream made silver in the moonlight. And at the meeting place, beneath the old oak tree, there is Daisy, the bushbaby, waiting patiently for Willow to arrive. They greet each other with hushed voices, not wanting to wake any of the folk who are busy in their dreams in Sleepy Forest, and head hand in hand towards the pine tree where Daisy and her family live, It's an easy tree for Willow to climb, one with big, strong branches that reach out from the trunk just a few inches apart from each other. So it's as easy as climbing the ladder in the library at home for her to go high, high to the top of the tree. And there is the bush baby's home, one that Willow made a few years before. It's almost perfectly round, made from thin strips of wood that Willow cut and shaped and bent. One of the finest little homes she's built. There is a large round hole that serves as a door, and smaller round holes that act as windows. And from the top, Willow notes with a smile is a little puff of white smoke coming from the chimney. Curtains are drawn at all the windows and across the door, and Daisy disappears inside to wake her father. He comes to the doorway and smiles out at Willow, explaining that with the little one on the way, they think it's time for an extra room, and does she think she can manage that? Willow takes out her sketch pad and shows her design, which shows a separate, completely round home, smaller than the first, attached to the main one underneath. It will hang on slender ropes, she shows, looking for all the world like a hot air balloon with a basket beneath. So the new bush baby can be rocked to sleep without disturbing the whole house. Daisy then shows her design for the inside, with a pattern of ferns across the nursery wall, and a rocking chair for the mother, and a rocking horse for the baby when she's old enough, and a little spiral staircase that links the two homes together. The design is beautiful, more than the bush babies could have dreamed, and Willow sets to work. Yes, there, high in the tree. She's as comfortable in the tree as you or I might be on the ground. She sets up her little workshop, hanging her tools on twigs. She walks along the branches until she finds the perfect pieces to cut and shape and bend in her hands, weaving everything together until it creates the shape she's after. She takes Mrs. Wollingworth's material from her basket, choosing a soft pink velvet piece for the bed, and hanging poppy-covered pieces over the windows. She adds matching cushions to the rocking chair she's made, and weaves the little lengths of wool together to make the softest rug to be placed on the floor. And then Willow oh so carefully makes the hole needed in the original home so she can add her spiral staircase made of woven reeds, linking the two creations together. The final touch, once everything is a single home, is to turn on the light in the new home. A soft glow can be seen behind the poppy curtains, and Willow imagines Daisy's mother sitting in the rocking chair with her new baby in her arms, her foot pushing her back and forth, as she sings a lullaby. The night isn't finished yet for Willow, for a new family of koalas has moved into Sleepy Forest, and she's busy making them their perfect home. They showed her pictures of their old cottage back where they used to live, and Willow is determined to make an almost perfect copy of this, so it's taking time. This will be her 5th night working on the home for them. Meanwhile, the koalas are having a lovely time camping out beneath the stars. 4 little orange tents, all pointed towards a fire pit in the middle, where they sit together in the evenings and roast marshmallows on the ends of sticks. By the time Willow gets there tonight, The baby koalas are tucked up in their sleeping bags and fast asleep. But Mr. and Mrs. Pebbles are waiting for their slumberjack to appear, blankets drawn over their knees and telescope in hand as they look up at the Milky Way. Willow stays with them a while before climbing up the great oak tree they've chosen as their home, reaching from branch to branch with ease as she approaches the cottage she's creating. Mrs. Pebbles is a great sewer, and she is making patchwork quilts for her new home. So Willow leaves the basket of scraps with her at the base of the tree. Mr. Pebbles continues his journey around the Milky Way, while Mrs. Pebbles claps her paws in delight at the beautiful pieces she has to choose from tonight, starting with a square of red on white striped material to add to her quilt. The cottage is one of the coziest Willow has created yet, with deep window seats for daytime dreaming and hammocks made from the thread of silkworms. Tonight, she's adding the softest moss as carpet, deep and thick and green and warm. And on one of the walls, she's painting the words of a poem she found. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, she paints slowly and carefully, her face screwed up in concentration. How I wonder what you are, up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. When the final curtain is added to the final window and the last pillow placed inside the last hammock, Willow climbs down the tree and beckons for Mrs. Pebbles to come and take a look. The koala stands with her hands clasped in the doorway, looking in at her new home, taking in all the touches Willow has included: the stand for the telescope, the shelf for the books, the copper kettle on a stove in the corner. For a moment, she wants to go and wake her children right away so they can see their new home too, but no. She will leave them asleep in their tents for one last night, and then they will move up the old oak into their cottage. Willow heads slowly home, taking her time on the walk through Sleepy Forest. It is a magical place where fireflies dance and glowworms glow, where gnomes dab luck onto fallen acorns and search through fields for four-leaf clovers, where animals from all over the world live side by side, happy and safe and free. She loves being in the forest, feeling the magic of the place wash over her. But then her eyes remind her how very tired she is. So she heads over the little bridge and along the path that winds to the left and the right. She goes through the gate and barely notices that this time it doesn't creak, barely stopping to wonder who might have come down behind her and poured a little oil onto the hinges. She reaches the lane and looks up to see Aunt Tilly's light still on, and smiles as she imagines what a very good book it must be that Aunt Tilly is reading. And then she turns up the footpath that hardly anyone notices and goes up the path that winds this way and that with the high hedgerows on either side. And there, in the clearing, is the log cabin that her grandfather's great-grandfather built, the one with the porch that wraps itself all around, and the rocking chair where her grandfather still sleeps, 1 foot up on the railing, a hat tipped over his eyes. Willow tiptoes past him and into the cabin, taking the softest steps she can as she heads up the stairs and towards her room. Her bed looks so warm and cozy, and her mother has left her nightclothes neatly folded on the pillow. Willow takes off her jeans and checked shirt, leaving them in a pile on the floor that she will sort out tomorrow. Climbing into her soft pajamas and snuggling down beneath the blankets. She turns this way and that, remembering she hasn't closed the curtains. From outside, the full moon seems to wink at her before disappearing behind a cloud, and there the room is dark, with just a few twinkling stars 1,000 years away. Willow thinks of the bushbabies tucked away in their perfect round ball of a home, and the cottage waiting for the koalas who are wrapped up in their sleeping bags in their little orange tents around the campfire, and Mrs. Pebbles sitting and sewing the final squares onto her patchwork quilt. And the slumberjack sighs happily as she falls asleep, imagining looking through a telescope at the silver sweep of the Milky Way and seeing a single star up above the world, so high, like a diamond in the sky. Now we're floating into a deep and peaceful sleep. Feel how your muscles are relaxing. Your arms are heavy and your legs are too, as they loosen and release any tension remaining from the day. Feel how you let your body fall into the cozy warmth of your bed. Close your eyes. Let your eyelids be heavy. Breathe deeply. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out as you continue to breathe deeply, and as you keep feeling how your body becomes soft and heavy with sleep. Let your mind drift away. That is the wonderful secret about sleep. While your body rests, lying heavily in your bed, your mind is set free, like a bird taking flight from a branch and flying up and up and up into the air. Feel how your mind loosens now, like a balloon that has been untied from a fence, and floats up and up and up like a bird. Up and up and up it floats towards the sky, until it reaches up into the clouds. Imagine that you have risen up high above the world and your head has poked up through the clouds. Then spread out all around you in the silvery moonlight, white fluffy clouds that look like cotton wool or marshmallows. They look so soft and squishy you can lie back on them and roll around in them. Try it now. Lie back in the soft cradle of the clouds. Feel how they swirl and wrap around your body, holding you gently in the world of sleep. Clouds come in all shapes and sizes. Some are big and fluffy, some are slender wisps. Some look like puffy mushrooms, and others look like paintbrush strokes that have been left on the dark sky. Let your body relax. Let your mind relax too. Let your mind float off into sleep. You are peaceful. You are safe. You are being held in the cozy warmth of sleep. With your eyes closed, let your mind drift up, up, up and away. In the world of dreams, you can go anywhere you like. You can float on blue oceans with ripples and tufts of waves. Or you can visit castles built in the sky with spiraling turrets and drawbridges over sparkling moats. Or you can wander into the peaceful woods where the birds are twittering and the trees are dense with dark green leaves. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out again as you fall more deeply into your cozy sleep. And with your eyes still closed, take a look around with your mind at where your dreams have taken you. When I fall asleep, I dream that I've gone to a world high up in the clouds. Sometimes the clouds are dappled silver from the moonlight. Sometimes they're soft pink and gold, reflecting the light of the twinkling stars. What form do your dreams take? Where does your mind go when you fall asleep? Maybe in your dreams there are flocks of white fluffy sheep huddling together on the green fields. Look at the mother ewe yawn widely before she tucks her little lambs beneath her woolly fleece. Or maybe you dream of a friendly dragon, curled up with his tail wrapped around him, a little trail of clouds puffing out of his nostrils. Look, the cloud dragon is smiling at us and waving. What a friendly dragon he is. Or maybe you dream of cute puppies lying on their backs, their tongues lolling out of their mouths, their eyes closing because they've had such a long day. They look tired, and there's their papa dog, fluffy and white, padding softly over to wish the puppies good night. Up here on the sea of clouds, you can be free. Feel how light you are, weightless, floating, drifting through sleep. Feel everything heavy from the day lift off you and drift away, taken away by currents until they disappear over the bank of clouds. Any worries you have been having, watch them float away. Anything that has been weighing on your mind during the daytime, now you can let them go and watch them drift away. Your worries are not you. You are not your worries. You can let them go. Watch them float away. Now you are light as air. You are as gentle as starlight. You are as soft as the clouds. Up in the sleepy sky, everything is weightless and peaceful. The clouds stretch out like a sea of tranquility. Close your eyes and feel the clouds wrap around you. Feel them bearing your body gently into the land of sleep. Feel your eyes close. Feel them rest heavily as your body relaxes into sleep. Feel your mind lighten. Feel it loosen and drift away, light as a feather, soft as the clouds. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. The world of clouds is waiting for you. Let yourself fall into the clouds' soft, warm hug. They are here to protect you. They are here to cushion you. They are here to hold you as you enjoy your deep and peaceful sleep. Sleep well, little one. Sleep well in the land of clouds. Feel how light you are. Feel how weightless, floating, drifting through sleep. Light as air, gentle as starlight, soft as clouds. Good night, little one. Sleep tight.